The way I see it, there's only 3 ways to make money in music. Number 1, you can make money in music through providing a skill or a service. In other words, doing something for someone else. This could include session work, being part of a live covers bands for events and weddings and that kind of thing, or perhaps something in production such as mixing and mastering. Anything where you're providing a service or a skill for someone else. The more skills you have, the more skills you have to offer to someone else, and this can build into a very lucrative career because there are always people out there who want professional mixing and mastering on their track. There are always people having events where they need an events band, like a wedding band for example, and there are always musicians like singer-songwriters who want musicians on their tracks and therefore they're willing to pay for that skill. This is part of the reason why I bang on about skill building. The more skills you have and the better that you are at those skills, the more money you can make and the more money you can ask for from other people. The second way to make money out of music is through education, teaching people stuff. Now this could be through one-to-one lessons, group lessons, masterclasses, online courses, even YouTube videos. All of these are education based. This could even work very nicely with option 1, which we've just looked at, building a skill or a service, in which you've built the skills yourself and so you're already monetizing that, and now you are teaching people to learn the skills themselves. For example, there are educators here on YouTube who specialize in a particular instrument. There's your local piano teacher just down the road, and there are even celebrities getting in on this form of monetizing their music. Having an advert pop up of Christina Aguilera teaching you how to sing on masterclass, that is a pretty cool thing. But you don't have to be Christina Aguilera, you don't have to be famous. There are people of every age and every level looking to get into music or to build on the skills that they already have. And this is a way that you can make money, because when it comes to making money, it is a case of supply and demand, and there are always people demanding to learn new skills. The third way to make money with music, and what I consider to be the hardest way to make money with music, but also the way that most people want to get into music, especially when they're creating original music, is to monetize a brand. That means building an audience and selling them stuff. And I think this is the place where a lot of original artists want to be, in a position where they have a following, a fan base, and they have the ability to sell them stuff and support themselves off that following. The real challenge here is how are you going to build that following and what are you actually going to sell to them? When I was younger, I used to have this very abstract idea of how I was going to make money with music. I kind of just had it in my head that I was going to make really great music and people were going to like it, and somehow the money would come from the music, come from these people liking the music. The problem with this mindset is that it is too vague. It's not a strategy and it doesn't actually tell you where exactly the money's going to come from. Equally, it doesn't have any thought behind it of how you're going to reach your target audience. You can't just have this mindset of, oh, I'll build it and they will come, because how are they going to find you if you haven't even put yourself on the map? How are they going to find you if you're not even giving that map to people? I can't tell you how many talented, like super talented musicians I know who are not making a living through their music because they have this mentality of, oh, I'm good enough so people will find me. It doesn't work that way. You have to at least put yourself in a position to be found in the first place. Equally, I'm sure you can think of some very successful musicians or artists who have less talent than unknown artists, but they have a knack for marketing, they have a knack for strategy, and they've been able to create something sustainable that's been able to stand the test of time. In essence, it's not all about talent. It's about matching a level of talent with strategy and finding an audience that demands that kind of music. I want to expand your mind a little bit here and encourage you to think about making money not directly from the music. Yes, music will help you build an audience. It will give you something to perform. It will help you build your brand. It will help connect you with the right demographic. And yes, it can help grow your community. But the sales often come from things that are not directly the music. The music sort of facilitates the sale. The sales often come from many different sources. Sales can come from gig and event tickets, they can come from merchandise sales like t-shirts and posters, they can come from advertising and sponsorship deals and brand deals. Money can even come from building an audience online and monetizing that, for instance through YouTube advertising, through Patreon, through streaming on Twitch. A sustainable career in music very rarely comes from this general idea of, yeah, I just want to make money from my music, especially at the lower levels. There has to be some kind of strategy behind how you're going to bring money in so that you can continue to make the music that you love and that your audience loves long term. Let's talk a little bit about music consumption, because this has a big role to play about where you're going to make your money from and exactly why nowadays it's more difficult to make money directly from music. The way that we consume music has changed so much that the relationship between music and money has changed in accordance with this. So when I was a kid, if I wanted to hear the latest music from my favourite artist, I had to get off my little butt and walk down to the high street, go into a shop, back then it was HMV or Woolworths, and buy a CD to be able to listen to this music, and then I'd put it in my little CD Walkman. You had to keep it level, because if you didn't keep it level, it would skip, and so you put it in your pocket and you'd just be used to all your favourite songs just skipping all the time. But that was like the coolest thing ever when I was a kid. And that's how we consumed music. We consumed music through CDs. Before that, it was tapes and vinyls. But in the modern age, it's streaming services, and I'm sure you've either been one of the people who's been complaining about this or know other people who are complaining about how little streaming services actually pay artists per stream, and this makes it quite difficult to make a living if you are solely relying on streaming to create an income from music. It's a different time, man. A lot of people consume music nowadays through one or more streaming services, and we're talking Spotify, we're talking Amazon Music, we're talking Apple Music. Even like I remember a time when you used to buy the songs from iTunes, and people don't do that anymore. This has kind of changed the valuation of music because it's not something tangible that you go and you purchase. You don't actually buy the music anymore. You stream it, but you don't own it. And yeah, you don't have a physical copy in your hand. And now CDs and tapes and vinyls, they are considered merchandise more than they are considered the main form of the music consumption. And when it comes to streaming music and music consumption in this way, the pricing is not in our hands. Not unless we choose to boycott streaming services entirely and only host our music on our own websites or other services like Bandcamp. But honestly, I don't think this is the way to go, because there's nothing stopping someone from downloading your album from Bandcamp or your own website and then sharing it illegally. It's so difficult to police stuff like that. It's also kind of inconvenient for the listener. If someone is happy using their streaming services and you're not on there, the chances are not everyone is going to follow you to do something that is out of the way for them. I want all my music in one place. I want it to be easy. I want it to be streamlined, and it's easy for me to put them in my favorites playlist and just play them whenever I want to on demand and not have to go somewhere else to listen to them and actually make the effort, like make extra effort when all I want to do is just listen to some music. It's so much more convenient for me that they pop up when I just put on, you know, a randomized playlist of all my favorite songs all shuffled, you know. So listen, I'm an artist as well as a avid music fan, and I get that it can be frustrating feeling like you're not getting paid what you feel you deserve for your music when you've put in so many hours and so much effort and so much money behind a project, and then you get a measly couple of pence, if that, at the end of a month of streams. But you can actually avoid a lot of the frustration that comes with this by using the music to build your following, build your fans, keep your fans engaged, and monetizing things that are not directly the music. You still get to write your music, so you still get people hearing your music. It's just a more sustainable approach, I think. Even with big bands, you see them take every opportunity to bring out new merch to their strongest followings. This includes bands like the 1975 and Bring Me the Horizon. They always seem to be bringing out new merch, and they sell everything from t-shirts to jewelry, accessories, mugs, and I think even some kind of sauce I've seen before. I know that this is not why most people get into writing original music. They get into it because they love it. But the problem is that if the money isn't coming directly from the music, because streaming is the way things are being consumed nowadays, and we don't have the control over how much money we get paid for streams, then there has to be some kind of strategy behind where the money's gonna come from so that you can continue writing music and have a sustainable career for the long term. You have to ask yourself, where is the money gonna come from? And I guess in a way, touring, gigs, live events, that could be seen as money coming directly from the music, and that's something that you consider and of course bring into the mix. But you won't be gigging and touring every day. Well, maybe you will, but if you're not, we've got to think about what's the strategy for when you're not. When I think of artists and where they could be making money out of their music, I think it's wise to have a fresh approach. First, focus on building your fan base, and you can do this through creating great music, getting it on all your social medias, promoting it or advertising it to get it to that target audience that you really want and who will love what you do, and then not expecting it to be an overnight success. This is something that takes time and effort, and you know, it might not happen the first song you put out or the second song you put out, but if you keep doing it and you keep building that audience, the main thing is that everything's going in the right direction, that it's following a positive trajectory. If your audience isn't building, then you've got to look at what you're doing. It's not the audience's fault. It's what is missing in my strategy. Are my songs strong enough? Am I just not reaching the right demographic? Am I on the right platform? Am I on a social platform that actually plays to my strengths? It does take learning about the platforms and also having some perseverance about you, some grit. Secondly, think about how you're gonna build your income streams, and you could choose any one of the methods that I've spoken about in this video, or you can choose a multitude. It really boils down to what you want to do, how much money you want to make, where you want to make the sacrifices, what you have enough time to do, and where your skills shine, where your strengths are. And you can have multiple income streams, and you can look into things like Patreon, Twitch, Buy Me a Coffee, a virtual tips jar if that's your thing. But all of these things are not going to be that successful in the first place if you haven't already built up that audience in order to be able to make these other streams work for you. It's all about putting yourself on the map first. Put yourself on the map and then tell people about the map, and then show off all the shiny things in that place on the map. And you might even want to build a personal brand alongside the band or project or services that you create. That's something that I enjoy doing, and it definitely adds a personal touch and something that I can forward people onto my other projects, and they can enjoy whatever part of my journey that they want. So, you know, would recommend. You know, if you want to make money, you've got to start thinking about this as a business, and that means thinking of it in terms of money going in and money going out. And hopefully you have more coming in than you do have going out. That's the only real way that this is going to work long-term, sustainably, if you want it to be a full-time career or you want to make some money. If there's more outgoings than ingoings, then that's, you know, business 101. You've got to have more coming in than going out. And if you've got more going out than coming in, then you've got to look at your strategy. Look at whether everything that's going out is necessary, and look at where you can get more streams of income or increase the streams that you already have, so that you're in the positive. I hope this takes you out of a place of worrying about the changing landscape of music, worrying about how many streams you're gonna get, and getting frustrated about big corporations being in control of your destiny in music. I also hope that it gives you the fire in your belly to be able to take the tools that you have and to learn about them and grow successfully wherever you want to in music, because there are always younger people, there are always more talented people, but what really makes the difference is sticking at things and learning. Sticking at things and learning, having that grit and that perseverance, but also the willingness to put in the effort where others are not. That's what will set you apart. Now, I'm sure there's more to this conversation that I may have missed out in this video, so please do leave your comments if there's anything I've missed out or anything you agree or disagree with. And I will see you next Sunday.